Let's get to last night's game. Miami taking it to Notre Dame. They look like the better team the whole game, but I mean Notre Dame. Credit to them for finally opening up offensively and letting C.J. Carr throw the football down the field. But they were by far the better football team in that football game. I mean, I didn't think it was even close, to be honest, watching it. I'll go to you first on this one. You were there. You saw it live in action. How good is this Miami team? Because I was impressed.
Yeah, I think really good. And I think what was interesting, I don't know if it was on purpose or maybe didn't have to, but as you just said, it always felt like they were in control. It always felt like it was their game, and they just didn't show a lot. You know, it was very vanilla from a game plan standpoint, and maybe that was on purpose. Once they kind of got in the flow, maybe Shannon Dawson and the boys were like, hey, let's just win. Let's just do what it takes. You know, we're kind of, running inside zone here, power, duo, and let's go. We'll let Carson throw it around a little bit, which I loved, seeing him in sync with his receivers. He finished the game on like a 14 or 15 pass in a row run. Kind of after starting 50%, he went kind of nuclear there. And I think he proved that Georgia's problem last year was not Carson Beck. Like I think it highlighted there was a lot of other issues kind of going around. Now, certainly guys making big plays. Like that one-handed snag, which was one of the best catches I've ever seen. That was a terrible decision to throw that ball. Like that wasn't good. No. He's double covered. I thought it was a pick, and then just out of nowhere, you see this Space Jam hand, catch this touchdown. I was like, whoa. But then we talked to him post-game.
Yeah, they did answer the question about receivers. I think they look good. The Malachi Tony kid, elite. Elite as a true freshman.
They underplayed him. They underplayed him so much. They're like, we think he's going to be okay. This guy's a freak of nature. He's a freak of nature. But those two guys, we heard it on the broadcast, and then we spoke to Carson ourselves afterwards, and he said pre-snap, the look for the one-handed catch, he said that's what we saw in practice. We called the play, and I just kind of looked at CJ and was like, here it comes. Like, I'm throwing it to you. Now, it was a little unorthodox how they had to get there, but it worked. And then he said the same thing about Malachi Tony when they got to the sideline. He said, I told you it would be there. And so to me, like that just showed, that's like the X factor about Carson that not a lot of teams are going to have. He knows what the heck he's looking at. Like he's been trained and raised at Georgia so well that when he gets to that line of scrimmage and he's looking at those safeties, he's looking at alignment, he's looking at how deep are the linebackers, where are the corners leverage, and he knows what he's getting, and he knows where to go. Now, can other guys make the play? Can he make the throw? Sure, we'll see. But we saw that a lot where it just looked like he knew exactly what he was looking at.
He's elite, man. I know people got on me last year because, listen, I don't know how much you heard me talk in the past 4 years, but I've been pumping Carson Beck since he was a freshman about how good this kid is. And, obviously 2 years ago had a tremendous season. Last year, I've said this list of what were Georgia's issues: receivers, offensive line, and then Carson was 3. Carson was not the biggest problem. Yeah, he had moments in which he was forcing the football, playing uncharacteristic, not protecting it. But I felt like he thought he had to be Superman because the guys around him were not playing to the level that he was at.
Yeah.
You're talking about a first-round caliber quarterback, a guy that is probably going to be picked if he continues to play like he can, and we know he can play, will be in contention to be the number one quarterback picked this year, which we thought he would be a year ago before the whole crap storm happened with the offense and everything going on. He's an elite talent. He has football IQ. My only question with Carson is just off the field, his leadership and his focus. There was a lot of stuff this offseason and a lot of stuff that you heard from Georgia locker room that just questioned him off the field. And if he can clean that up and be a leader and be a good teammate and be just one of the dudes in the locker room, there is no doubt Carson Beck will be, like I said, in contention for the Heisman, and he'll be in contention to be one of the first quarterbacks taken off the draft next year. He is that good with the football in his hand as a quarterback. And you alluded to high football IQ. So love Carson. Great first game for him. Great receivers. But really, I'm going to give some love to the big boys up front. My goodness, how good is Miami's offensive line, E-Man?
Yeah, they're freaky, man. And they did exactly what I kind of thought. Only gave up 2 TFLs to a really good defense, to arguably one of the best, if not the best defense a year ago. Only gave up 1 sack, and that was kind of a weird overload situation. It was a great call. It was a better call than what the offense had. And that they move the ball. They're running it at will. Mark Fletcher averaged closer or over, to 4.5 yards per carry. And again, I think it was really vanilla. I think they could have done more if they wanted to. So everything was kind of proven. It's nice when it does happen. It's interesting when it doesn't, but it's nice when it's proven of what you think and what you've seen when it translates to a big time game. And I think it just goes to show, this team is built and has been built over the last couple of years the way to win championships. And that's what you saw here. I mean, and to go to the defensive line really quick, and I would love to hear your thoughts on CJ Carr, because I did think he was ready for the moment. He was poised. He was not afraid. And, to the end of the game, he was ready to go. But anyway, looking at that defense, that was the Achilles heel last year. That's why they were kept out of the college football playoff, because they couldn't win with the defense, and they can this year. And that defensive line was hunting. They were giving those guys fits all day long. I think they ended with 3 or 4 sacks, handful of TFLs, and to end the game, walk it off with 2 sacks back to back. Your best players, hey, we need you to go make one play,
baby.
And they did it twice. That was it was really impressive to see. I think Miami heads and shoulders better than where they were a year ago from a complete team standpoint.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can win the lines of scrimmage. Offensive line, they can dominate. Defense line, that's where it starts. This is still football, and they have elite play, it feels like, on both sides of the line of scrimmage. You have an elite quarterback. Now we go to the skill positions, and those answer the big question. So I really, really like Miami going forward. I mean, that was a massive win against a really good football team, obviously, Notre Dame. Let's go touch on CJ Carr real quick. I liked him, man. I was a little bit frustrated with the game plan early on.
I was too. It was a lot like Texas, dink and dumps and not giving it to Jeremiah. It was weird. It was weird.
No love for Jeremiah early. No run. I mean, the first 7 plays, 6 of them were passes, I believe. Yeah. And all of them were dinks and dunks. And I don't mind it so much early on, because you want to get a young quarterback get going. The weather was kind of iffy. I'm sure the ball were a little bit slick at times. You're going against a hostile environment. But it just felt like they waited to the second half to start pushing the ball down the field. They waited to the second half to really get Jeremiah going a little bit. I think everything was just for Mike Denbrock, the offensive coordinator for Notre Dame. It felt like, and I love him, I think he's a tremendous OC. I felt like he was a step late, or even 2 step late in the football game, getting Jeremiah touches, trying to push the ball down the field a little bit more. It just took a little bit long for him to get comfortable with CJ, to get into the rhythm of the game truly, and then by then it was just too late.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, and I said it always felt like Miami was a step ahead on both sides of the football. Offensively they were moving it well. At times they couldn't obviously finish it off, the botch snap on the field goal, but they had the momentum, and it felt like Notre Dame was just kind of waiting to release the beast. And a game like that on the road, you wait too long, you're going to lose. And they waited too long and put themselves in a situation where, 2-minute drive, young quarterback, and that defense, it just was not going to happen.
Correct. And I will say again, the fight from CJ, the fight from that team, they never quit. It was 21-7 at one point. And I'm calling my friend Jordan Cornette, a Notre Dame grad, and saying, hey, this is about to get so ugly. And he's sitting there all sad, little puppy. And then they come storming back, and they get it within a 1 score. And I think they had a 3-and-out after that. And you're just like, okay, here we go. This is going to be really interesting to see how they finish. I mean, they scored 17 in the fourth quarter. So certainly things to grow on. I think that you're really excited, if you're a Notre Dame fan, about the future with CJ and the growth that you'll continue to see, from this team. But you're right, from a play calling standpoint, let's let it rip now. Now that you got that game out of the way, it's time to go.